XRP news, the SEC recently authorized an XRP ETF, however, it wasn't the one we were hoping for. It'll tell you everything. XRP is going to have a wonderful golden cross on Bitcoin, and Donald Trump just stated that the new tariffs might lower income taxes. I want to know what that means for XRP in the future. To spread those positive sentiments, please give me a lovely grin. Let's get started, Smishy. Hit the like button. Let's attempt to get this video to receive 3,000 likes. You people are capable, I'm sure of it. Although XRP is up almost 2% for the day at $2.23 right now. You can see that it appeared here. Okay, let me fetch my brush. This appears to be the point at which XRP moved 4 and 5% in 15 minutes and was rejected by our trusted resistance level, 22.2690. That's right. Due to certain news that surfaced, which I'll describe in a moment, it was rejected there and pushed back down. Doesn't actually watch the entire video through to the conclusion. However, I want to begin with the recent remarks made by Donald Trump. Breaking, he says. With an emphasis on individuals earning less than $200,000, 0 cents, annually, President Trump claims that tariff funds will be utilized to lower or eliminate income taxes. He claims that many people's income taxes will be significantly lowered, if not removed entirely, if tariffs are decreased. People earning less than $200,000, 0 cents annually, will be the main focus. Additionally, new manufacturers and facilities are already creating a huge number of jobs. Is under construction or planning. America will benefit much from it. There is an external revenue service. Actually, the majority of people in America, roughly 60% of the viewership, make less than $200, 0 cents annually. I'm not sure if you fall into this category or not. I'm hoping you're earning more. According to Donald Trump, there will either be no income tax or extremely low income tax. Naturally, this would be very significant since it would indicate that people have more money to invest. What will they invest in too? The economy might be boosted by stocks, cryptocurrency and real estate. The government will subsequently be able to deduct it from capital gains tax rather than income tax. That's where it's coming from if it's not coming from here. Naturally, not everyone will invest, but this will be a very intriguing scenario. I hope that all of you Americans will benefit from this. Correct. It's unfortunate that Michael Saylor tweeted out once more, "Stay humble, stack stats." I apologize, but the stacks of Benjamins are also stacks. Naturally, every time he releases this graph, it signals that he will make an announcement on Monday morning announcing another Bitcoin buy or bounce. It will be intriguing to observe what his real Bitcoin purchase number is, which is 94,000. You can see that he doesn't give a damn. Even if it's 80, 50, 70 or 90, he keeps buying, carries out his scheme. He's not going to stray from it. He keeps doing the same thing. Additionally, it requires a lot of courage and is not an easy task. Correct. Another word was what I wanted to convey. I believe you are able to speak balls, what you're playing with. It's basketball. You can say that and think on YouTube. Therefore, it takes a lot of courage to keep thinking the way he does. Consequently, he keeps accumulating and purchasing Bitcoin. It's interesting to note that XRP and Bitcoin are about to make a very unusual golden cross. I made my son a pizza tortilla since I forgot about him. You take a tortilla, cover it with cheese and tomato sauce, cover it with another tortilla, chop it up, and then put it in the freezer to keep it from becoming too hot. Additionally, I left it in the freezer. It's cold, it says. We overlooked it. Listen up, a golden cross occurs when the 50 AMA or SMA crosses the 200 SMA. It's an intriguing scenario that is interpreted as a bullish sign. It does not guarantee that the asset will increase. In the same way, there is no guarantee that a death cross will fall. However, given that the prices of Bitcoin and XRP have been very constant in relation to one another, this is an intriguing situation. I'm referring to the remaining altcoin market. Therefore, it will be fascinating to watch how it unfolds and whether this small mini pop-up will occur as a result of the news, and you will quickly comprehend why it didn't continue to rise. Could this alleviate some of the shorts pressure? Ken tagged me on Twitter, as you can see here, @MakerLev. If you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, this is the perfect moment to do so. As you can see, Justin, the ProShares Trust XRP ETF's public debut date has been approved by the SEC. Individuals who have been observing the channel, in fact, yesterday we discussed their filing for this and we discussed what it meant, but the first thing that the Twitter scraping algorithms think of when they read this is, my God, the SEC just approved an XRP ETF, and you can watch that pump up after that. Correct, but I saw that all over Twitter, and it's what we need. People were not aware of the significance of this. What's crucial to realize, though, is that Uphold even tweeted that the XRP ETF was approved. However, Eleanor, a former Fox News employee and current host of the podcast Crypto in America, tweeted out, rather than spot, the XRP spot ETF is what we are genuinely anticipating. Oh, but it didn't mention place, right? She then says here, and to offer all the people. Clown. I was getting pretty tired of all the Cuba warriors in this case, so I had around 20 DMs asking me if there was a place ETF approval. Well, just because some individuals realize that this is not a location doesn't mean that everyone does. As you can see, the pricing at first was based on either human or algorithmic perceptions that this was a spot Bitcoin ETF. To clarify the differences between the two, let me say this immediately. Inquired you mean grok. Thus, it provided us with this excellent synopsis. Therefore, the ProShares Trust XRP ETF and a spot XRP ETF differ primarily in their underlying asset, investment strategy, and structure. This is a thorough analysis based on the information that is currently available online. XRP ETF Spot, an exchange-traded fund that directly holds. For XRP tokens, in order to track the current spot price of XRP, is known as a spot XRP ETF. In order to give investors exposure to XRP without actually buying or managing the cryptocurrency, it seeks to replicate its price movement as accurately as possible. XRP tokens are physically held by the ETF and are usually kept in secure custody solutions. Coinbase Custody is one example of a custodian. As of April 22, no spot XRP ETFs have been approved in the United States, and the fund's value is directly linked to the market price of XRP and its regulatory status. Similar companies have applied to the SEC, such as Bitwise, Grayscale, 21 Shares, Canary Capital, and others, but their applications are still being reviewed. Naturally, the investment attraction offers direct exposure to XRP price movement that is regulated and available through conventional brokerage accounts. It is also less complicated than future-based ETFs, which may have more stringent price and risk tracking. Vulnerable to regular unpredictability, XRP's intrinsic volatility, and the possibility of greater expense ratios than those of conventional ETFs. All right, so now we know what a typical spot XRP ETF is that might soon receive SEC approval. The ProShares Trust's XRP ETF. What is it? According to the SEC filings, the ProShares Trust's XRP ETFs are futures-based ETFs that do not directly hold XRP. Rather, they obtain exposure to the price of XRP through derivatives such as future contracts and swap agreements. Price movement then, thus, if they are examining futures and the manner in which they use futures and swap agreements. It may imitate the price of XRP, but it may also have its own movement and move differently due to the contracts in their setup, as well as the fact that they have different features than simply following the price. ProShare Ultra Short and Ultra Short XRP are among these offerings. Assets. Instead of holding XRP coins, these ETFs invest in XRP future contracts and swaps. Their daily investment returns should be multiples of 2x minus 2x, or the opposite of the daily performance of XRP. Status of regulation: as of April 25, ProShares has received approval from the SEC to introduce their future-based XRP ETF, which will go into effect on April 30th, 2025. Recent posts on X have highlighted that these are not spot ETFs. Investment attraction provides instances of leverage that are extremely high. Active traders with a high risk tolerance will find XRP appealing because it attempts to double daily returns, or inverse for short exposure, permits speculation on XRP price movement without requiring ownership of the cryptocurrency, and is accessible through trading on a typical stock market. Risks include, of course, increased volatility and risk because of inverse strategy and leverage, which can increase losses. Because of basis, risk, leverage, and the expense of rolling future contracts, future-based ETFs may have tracking errors. Correct. Isn't that the primary expense? Causing XRP's current price to fluctuate over time.